You cannot keep up on your high school classmates and know what cars they just bought and how many babies they have now while you don't have any babies, and then end up thinking about your life and feeling like you're a failure.
Mind your business is very important. It's absolutely important. Yes. And it will be good for your health.
Okay, so what is up, guys? There's been a lot of stuff going on online right now with a lot of people saying that they're quitting WhatsApp, they're deleting WhatsApp, they're downloading Telegram, or they're moving over to Signal and stuff like that. Now, I've also seen a lot of ignorant posts with people saying, oh, these companies already have your data. What are they going to use your data for? You're not important, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of ignorance going on. So I was hoping that I could use this video to actually educate a lot of people that don't actually understand what the implications of this are and why a lot of people are deciding to actually leave the platform. This is not about your chats or your nudes or the messages that you sent to your ex-boyfriend. Nobody cares about that, and I'm fairly certain that WhatsApp doesn't really care about that. Even if Facebook actually has access to that data, I'm not sure what they could possibly use that data for. But anyway, let's actually talk about why this is an issue. So the first thing that I'd like to say is the problem is not WhatsApp so much as it's actually Facebook being the problem. You see, Facebook actually purchased WhatsApp in 2014, and for the most part, the promise that was made to us was that WhatsApp was going to continue to be an independent entity. Now, the problem with that idea is Facebook is a for-profit organization, and they're always going to have to find ways to make everything profitable to make money from it. Now, WhatsApp as a business, as far as I know, does not actually generate any income. It's just a widely adopted messaging application that everybody uses. Since the demise of BlackBerry Messenger, WhatsApp was where everybody ran when they stopped using Blackberries. Whether they decided to use Android phones or iPhones, it didn't matter. WhatsApp was where it was at. And aside people who actually use iMessage, which is not anywhere near as many as the people who actually use WhatsApp because it's cross-platform and it's available to everybody, WhatsApp is the messaging app for people who run businesses with messenger applications and stuff. So now, what exactly is the problem with this new privacy policy? Well, the first thing is they give you an option to opt in, and that's about it. If you do not opt in, from the beginning of February, you will no longer be able to use WhatsApp. And as unconsequential or inconsequential as that might sound, there's a lot of problems with that. You see, this is the first time that we're seeing WhatsApp move from being WhatsApp, the independent business, to being WhatsApp, a Facebook business. And that changes everything. Because as we know, Facebook has been accused of a lot of data privacy problems in the past, especially when it came to the last US elections. Actually, the one before the last that actually instated Donald Trump as the president of the United States. There was a lot of things about, people tampering with the information that actually goes around, using fake news to actually get votes for Donald Trump, and tampering with the Electoral College. And a company was actually found to be guilty of this, spending hundreds of millions of dollars on actual advertising. The company is under the water right now. It doesn't actually exist anymore, but the idea is still the same, and it's a business model that can be replicated across the board. So I just wanted to clarify that the problem was not actually WhatsApp itself, but Facebook. The second thing I want to talk about is the actual data that WhatsApp has access to. Now, WhatsApp is still, as far as we know, end-to-end encryption. So the chats that you actually exchange with your friends are not going to be read by anybody. That information is not getting sent to anyone, and you're not going to be exchanging that information or giving up that information to Facebook anytime soon. But one thing that you should know is when you actually share links with people on your WhatsApp, Facebook actually archives that so they know what you're interested in, and then they can further advertise to you with that stuff. Now, that might be a problem for some people, especially when you consider that there are entire groups on WhatsApp and entire conversations that are basically based around people sharing their opinions and like-minded articles and things that they're interested in with each other. So if you're a bunch of friends, for example, you just finished high school and you were thinking of what universities to go for, what scholarships to apply for and stuff, WhatsApp can tell that you're in a WhatsApp group basically where you're sharing links to different scholarships and different schools in your area. And then when you go online to some other websites, they can actually use that to advertise to you different options from their advertisers. Basically, universities and scholarship plans that are basically advertising with Facebook at that time can then advertise to you with that information that they've gotten. So things like your profile picture, for example, are going to go to WhatsApp, things like your payment information. And the payment information part is a bit tricky, see, because personally, I know I have never purchased anything from WhatsApp. I have literally never given or input my payment information into WhatsApp. There's no reason why I would do that because it's not a shopping app. But I can guarantee you 1000% right now that WhatsApp does have my payment information. And how do they have that? Maybe when I was sharing it with my best friend to make a purchase with my card, they have that information stored somewhere and they can very easily access that. That's a problem for me because now they have an idea of my spending habits, the things that I do with my money, and they can advertise more to me and then I can end up spending more money. Now, that again may not be a terrible idea for some people because some people would honestly rather have like the advertisements that are actually being tailored to them be stuff they're interested in. For example, I'm not interested in guns. I don't care about guns. I don't care about MAGA, for example. So you're not going to advertise a gun to me or a set of new high quality bullets and expect me to actually click that. But if you advertise a really high quality pair of headphones that offers something new that I don't already have, there's a very good chance that I'm going to click that, and as long as Facebook now knows that, they can use that to advertise to me a little bit more. Another thing to pay attention to is going to have to be the user privacy language that has actually changed over the last few weeks. Stuff like, WhatsApp initially stating that, they do not run advert banners on their application, and that language has basically changed to them saying things like, we don't currently run advert banners, but at some point, if we decide to start running that, we're going to update this user privacy policy to reflect that. That changes everything. Are we supposed to now start expecting ads in our feeds? And if we are, that basically means the information that WhatsApp actually has access to now, that they're now sharing with Facebook, will now be used to tailor advertising directly to us. If that's something that you don't mind, that's absolutely fine, but there's going to be a lot of people that have a problem with that. Now, for all the bad that big tech has done, there's also a lot of good that it has done. For example, I'm somebody who lives in a third world country like Nigeria, and there is police brutality rampant, right? Forget about what the government told you, it's a lie. SARS exists and they're still killing people, they're still extorting people, and bad things are still happening to young people who are mildly successful. Now, for somebody like me, if I got arrested by SARS, for example, and they decided to say, I was an armed robber and take me to court, the only proof that I would have on me at that point, beyond my word against your word, would be my phone's location history, right? Google has access to my location and they know where I am almost every single time. So if I said, my phone can prove to you that I was never at so scene or at so robbery location on so day I was at my house, you can actually go through my history and my location history and be able to actually help me prove, and that could actually be the only reason why I would be free in a country like Nigeria. But for some other people, that's not important. There are places in the world where they don't have police brutality as bad as we have it over here, and there are places in the world where this is not a problem, and people like that may not care about this. So basically, giving access to WhatsApp to your location and stuff like that can become a problem. One other important point that I think that you should note is going to have to be censorship. There was the NSAS protests, right, that happened in Nigeria where the police was killing people and they were still killing people. And every time Nigerians tried to update this on Instagram, another Facebook business, the post would get taken down and tagged as fake news. Facebook did that, and it was on purpose. That was censorship. A lot of youths were killed on October 2020, and a lot of people around the world are probably completely ignorant to this fact. They don't even know that it happened. They're not aware because the information was so much censored that it never got out. Facebook was constantly taking down posts and, limiting accounts and blocking accounts and shadow banning accounts that were posting these things because they didn't want people to see this content. They tagged it as fake news. Censorship like that is a problem. So are you looking forward to a future where you actually put an opinion on your WhatsApp status? Something that's just completely your opinion, it's subjective, right? And then they tell you, this post that you put up is fake news and we don't agree with it and you can't post that on your WhatsApp status. That's the future that you're buying into when you agree to something like this. That's the future that you're basically working towards if you decide, this is not important, I'm just going to accept it and continue to use WhatsApp. Now, I understand it's going to be tedious. Deciding to backtrack and leave all your clients on WhatsApp or leave all your friends and family on WhatsApp and go over to something like Telegram and try to convince them to actually come with you, it's going to be hell. There's a lot of old people that would not care and they would not want to do it, and that's absolutely fine. Now, you might have noticed that there are times when you have conversations on your phone. Maybe you have a WhatsApp call or some sort of conversation with a friend and you end up getting ads served to you about that stuff. It's a little creepy, and a lot of people are not going to accept that as something that should be normal. It's intrusive and it's not right. Now, one thing that I should point out though is a lot of these applications that we use are free. You're not actually paying a monthly subscription, so you have to pay for it somehow. And without you existing, Facebook as a business will not exist. You are the commodity. Your eyes, your attention, and your wallet is basically what Facebook is selling to its advertisers. So essentially, you're the product that Facebook is selling. So without you, the business doesn't work. But also, without Facebook, there's a lot of things that you cannot do. You cannot keep in touch with your family and see your third cousin from your mother's side, newborn baby, immediately the baby is born, because that's where everybody shares all that information. You cannot keep up on your high school classmates and know what cars they just bought and how many babies they have now while you don't have any babies, and then end up thinking about your life and feeling like you're a failure. These are some content that Facebook actually gives you that you cannot get anywhere else. And access to your information is how you pay for that banal content and the opportunity and privilege to actually use your platform. So while big tech does a lot of good, there's also a lot of bad involved in a lot of these things. So I feel like you have to decide for yourself. Now, first of all, it's a huge gripe for me when you're giving me an option to accept a privacy policy as new and as normal, and you're not giving me an option to opt out, and you're telling me if you don't accept it, you can no longer use our platform. Now, I'm going to leave you with a final point, and this is important for you to consider. This is not me giving into petty arguments or petty quarrels or squabbles, but one of the co-founders of WhatsApp actually left WhatsApp immediately after selling and founded Signal, and he tweeted out, "Delete WhatsApp." Like, that was like the first thing he said after he left WhatsApp. Why? Because he saw it coming. He knew that these privacy problems were going to be an issue because of what Facebook was going to end up doing to WhatsApp and turning it into a business. And while I understand nobody wants to spend billions buying a product or an application and not actually making money from it, I don't really see how this is ever going to be a win for Facebook, because they're actually going to be bleeding users at an alarming rate as this thing continues to go. Of course, there's going to be the odd makeup artists who cannot leave WhatsApp because all your users are on WhatsApp. There's going to be the ignorant people who just click accept and continue to use WhatsApp. But there's a lot of things that you also have to consider for yourself and your privacy. For example, are you comfortable with WhatsApp and now Facebook actually having your payment information for everything, understanding your spending habits and the things you're interested in buying, and actually marketing more to you? If you're somebody who has issues being financially responsible, that could be terrible for you. Are you actually going to be fine with a future where banner ads are actually being served in your chat app? It's totally fine if you want to accept the WhatsApp terms of service and continue to use WhatsApp. That's your personal choice, but don't try to convince other people who have a problem with it that you're right and they're wrong. Nobody's right and nobody's wrong. It's a subjective opinion whether you want your personal data to go to Facebook or whether you don't. And if you don't, the wise thing to do is to completely step away from WhatsApp right now. And if you can't do that right now, but you really, really wish you could, I totally understand you, and it's fine to continue using it. Whatever works for you and your business is perfectly fine. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I guess this has been a fairly informative video, right? Yes, so I hope I have informed and not insulted or caused more problems for anybody. If you have friends that actually need to see this video and actually digest this information, please make sure to share with them. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I guess I will see you on another video that was shot by Kagan. Peace.
A con of gods.